Today in the Dietary Restriction Kitchen, we're going to make a great treat to start off the holiday season, and that is Toffee Bars. Just a really simple recipe, great way to start out, great to make with the kids. You don't have to make it with nuts. I like nuts, and I'm able to eat them, make them with nuts or without, and it's delicious, it's chocolatey, and super easy and fun to do with the kids. So let's get on that right now. Okay, so for the Toffee Bars, we're going to start obviously with the bottom layer. So we're going to need a cup, so 2 sticks worth, if you've got them in sticks, of the vegan sort of dairy-free butter. I use the term butter loosely, but basically, and I've softened this, I've left it out, so it is very soft. I'm going to get that off of that. Okay, I'm going to need a knife to get the rest of that out of there, because I don't have a knife handy, because I didn't think I needed one. Okay. I should have known better, because look, you got some sticking to the side here. Okay. This isn't glamorous. Okay. Not glamorous at all. Okay. There we go. That one, then the other one. This is what happens when you leave them out. Okay. But we wanted them softened the easiest way, and because it's margarine, it's not like you don't have milk ingredients in this stuff, right? This is completely dairy free, and so if I left this out overnight before I went to bed last night. It's now like 3:45 in the morning, so so basically I went to bed. Before I went to bed, I left the margarine or the vegan dairy free butter out. All right, so we're good with that. And so I left the dairy-free butter out, and then it softened it. And because it doesn't have any milk ingredients, we're safe to do so because it's not. Yeah, so we're going to put our brown sugar in with that. I have packed brown sugar, so I'm trying to unpack it now. Okay, there we go. And we're going to get that mixed up together. And we're going to kind of cream that together. So hold on a second. This is a little bit tough, right? So yeah, it's like a gunky mess. Sorry, my hand's probably in the way. I'm left-handed, so yeah. And so you get this situation. I mean, sometimes if I was, not doing this on camera, I might be tempted just to do this with my thumb, like get it off of that with my thumb. But basically, you're just rubbing that together, obviously, right? We want that well combined. So yeah, there's a lot of butter, and we're using that. We'll just say butter, even though it has no dairy in it, right? We're making this gluten and dairy free. Oh, there's a hunk of it there. Look, see, like a thing of brown sugar right there. So I'm just gonna break it up with my fingers. I have a towel here, so I'm just gonna wipe off that little tea towel that I'm using this morning. I'm going to chuck it in the wash later, so it's not a big deal. It's clean, but, we're going to just use it for making, some Christmas treats this morning. So this one's a really good Christmas treat. It starts off the Christmas baking nicely, I find, or your holiday baking whenever you're doing it. And this is so easy, this one. So, I mean, creaming this butter and brown sugar to get butter, you see, we're going to use our term, and the brown sugar together is easy. It's a bit of a pain. Now, if you had forgotten to take out your dairy-free butter the night before, or a little bit before you were going to do that to get it to sort of room temperature and get it soft, you could always whip it in the microwave, in a glass or Pyrex container in the microwave, and just for even 10 to 20 seconds would work. So we're now going to put in our vanilla into that. So I didn't measure it off ahead of time, but yeah. So a teaspoon of vanilla goes in there. Okay. And we're also going to put in 1 egg yolk in there. So here's the egg yolk, not the egg white, but the egg yolk. So that in there. So I know so many recipes want you to use the egg white, right? And then you're left over with the egg yolks. Well, this one's the opposite way, but I'm going to use that. I don't have it on camera, but I've already separated my egg, and the egg white that I didn't use is now in in the fridge. I'm probably going to have it at breakfast time, when I have my breakfast later. Okay, so there, along with another egg. So just mix it up with a whole egg. Okay, so there we go. So that's that. So I know it, so it looks really, okay, so in here we got that. So that, we're not done yet. I forgot about my flour and stuff. So in another bowl, there's another bowl, we're going to put our flour, right? So that's a gluten-free 1-to-1 flour blend. The full recipe can be found on the Dietary Restriction Kitchen website. The link will be in the description for this video. Okay, so then a quarter teaspoon of salt. There we go. My favorite way to blend these things together is just with a whisk. Okay. Here, and then that just goes in with that. Like, nothing could be easier, right? I mean, how easy is that? Set that aside. Woo! Now this is gonna get tough to get this in here. Okay. So we're going to blend these two things together. Come on. You know me, I'm dying to get in there with my hands. Yeah. If you've been watching any of my videos previously, you know that I would just do this with my hands and get it done, get it over and done with. Yeah, okay. And I'm flinging flour everywhere. This may be a better, I mean, it looks like a good size bowl, and it is. It is. It's not a bad size bowl. I am actually going to do that. Yeah. But before I do, I'm going to go grab the pan that it's going to bake in. So just one second. I'm going to grab that. I have it ready. I have it ready just a little bit off camera here. So there we go. Prepared pan. Just going to set that back because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here with my hands and just press this stuff together so you can see. So we're going to press all those ingredients together, mix them up. So I'm getting one hand get gunky, my right hand, even though I'm left-handed. And yeah, my left hand is, see, it's kind of sticking to my hand. But what we're going to do, get all of that mixed in. There's some flour at the bottom, so I'm just grabbing it. I'm sort of like grabbing it in my fist, if you will, with my fingers. I mean, you could work this with the spoon over and over, and also this is going to go faster if I do it this way. So then, come on, get that last little bit of flour there, Nat. There we go. All right. So you can see it starts to come together as a ball. So I mean, really, basically, I can pick that up now. Most of it, like, look, I can do that. We're going to put it in the pan. See, how good is that? Okay, we're going to get the rest of it in the pan as well. Okay, I'm going to grab the rest of it off the sides of my bowl with the spatula or whatever implement you've got handy. There. Yeah, and put that in the pan. Now we're going to spread that in our pan. So, okay, not messing around, Natalie, and go. Okay. So, yeah, so now we're going to spread this in the pan. I find it easier to do it with my hands because we're going to get it right into every corner here. So if you wanted to, you could have blobbed like a bit in this corner, that corner, and then there, and then join them up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so we're going to get this done. So sorry if I'm going quiet. I'm just like trying to... It doesn't matter. You can manhandle this part. It's not going to make a difference. Like you say, oh, it'll be tough. It doesn't matter. It's got to be the base to these squares. So, and these squares are not very thick. Like, they're not going to be like that. They're just going to be thin. So, quite thin. But they are a good win. So, come on now. I got to get it into that corner. I'm trying to I just press and then sort of stretch into that other corner. Okay, so we got on that side. Now I got to do on this side. Stretch it down into that corner. Okay, so I'm caught on the end of my fingers here. Okay. And then that final corner, see, if you see it, that doesn't have, okay, so stretch it down into that corner. I'm kind of pressing with my palm and then stretching it down into towards that corner. There we go. Now let's just pretty it up a little bit on the edges. Whew. This is a great thing to do with the kids too. I mean, this is easy to make, and you can have the kids stretching it and putting their clean hands, of course, in here and having fun with it. And they're going to get nice. See, this isn't that messy. I mean, I got some on my fingers from mixing it with my fingers, but you can get the, if you have grandkids or little children in your life, you know, you could put them to work on this. This is a great recipe to do with the kids. It's super easy, and yeah. Just, you know, safety first, right, with the kids, but it doesn't require any, well, too much, you know, right? I supervise. This is a great recipe to do with the children, and they're going to love it later because there's a really fun part to do. Okay, after the baking is over. Okay, so I'm thinking that's good. I just want it a little thicker in that corner there. So, doesn't have to be perfect either. So this is just like, we're not... Are we a competition? Are we a competitor in a baking competition for this? No, we're not. Okay, so there we are. We're going to put it in the oven for 25 minutes at least, 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to check it at 25. I'm going to put it in 25 minutes in the oven, and then we go into the next step. Okay, so the base is cooked. Just taking it out of the oven. As you can see, it's just sort of browned and looking nice, and it's just, yeah. Okay, so take our chocolate chips and we're going to sprinkle them over the top right away. So this is going to be great for the kids. If you're making this with children, awesome. So we're going to do that. We're just going to let it set for a few minutes, and then we can spread it. But that's the next step. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Just let them kind of get softened on the top there. All right, so it's been a few minutes. They've been, the chocolate chips are just sitting there on the top. They're starting to look gooey. So you can take the spoon, the back of the spoon, or a little mini spatula, and we're going to spread that. Okay, you can see, I don't know if you can see here, I don't want to lift it with bare hand because it might still be warm. So this is where you got to be careful. If you're doing this with children, make sure that, you know, they're not touching the sides of the pan, you know. So I don't know about really small little ones, but yeah. So we're going to just get that gooed up. See, it's gooey. It's ooey gooey good. And we're just going to melt that right over the top. So how good. I'm using semi-sweet chocolate bits. If you have to be dairy-free, like say you've got a dairy allergy, or anybody in your world has a dairy allergy, be very careful what chocolate chips or what chip, you know, what baking chips that you buy, because some of them have dairy in them. Now I'm using semi-sweet chocolate. Usually they don't, but don't quote me on that. Don't hold me to that, because you know, you just got to be very careful and read your labels on your baking chips, because, or baking chocolate, if you've got the solid baking chocolates and stuff, be very careful of that, what's saying on the label. Oh my gosh. So here, I'm going to add a little bit more. Where are my chocolate chips got to now? I'm going to add a little bit more to that. I feel like, there. I'm going to add some in this corner. Come on. Come on. Now I'm going to have to wait till that melts a little bit more. But basically, we're going to do this, and then we're going to, if you want to add nuts, you add some chopped nuts to the top, or even some whole nuts like that. So like I've got some whole pecans. If you can't eat nuts, then don't add nuts. You know, it's just that simple. I mean, you know, it's not carved in stone. You could leave it without nuts on it. You could put toffee bits. Again, though, toffee bits have some dairy in them. So if you get the score bits, I love the score bits. And even though I'm not supposed to have dairy, but it's digestive for me, it's not because I have an allergy, I will fudge it. And like literally I will, you know, cheat for score bits. But if you cannot eat dairy, then because of allergies or anything, see, I added that little extra chocolate in that corner. And if it mixes up with the, like, if it kind of brings up the bottom, you know, a little bit, don't worry about it. Like, I don't worry about it. So I'm going to have to let that in. But that's what we're going to do. And then once we got them all cooled, well, not completely cooled. We want them to be slightly warm still. And then we're going to chop them up. But you can see now I'm just like, ugh. So you can see where, yeah, it's a half a cup. Well, no, what was it? It was 2/3 cups of the chocolate chips. But you could go probably as high as like 3/4 of a cup to even maybe a cup of chocolate chips. You know, yeah, because the less you do, the thinner this is going to be. And, you know, you can just really let the kids go to town, right? Like, let's dump the whole, you know, let's say a whole cup of chocolate chips on there, and they would have fun doing that, okay? But just make sure that they don't touch the sides of the pan. Okay, I'm just going to let those last ones melt, and I'm going to get them spread out, and then we're going to, I'm going to put some whole ones on of my nuts here, of the pecan halves, but you could chopped, you could have no nuts, you know, you could have little score bits if you wanted, if you can eat them, right? Just check your labels. And then we're going to wait till these cool off, and then we're going to slightly, we want it still a little bit warm so that we can easily cut. And then, yeah, we're going to give them a try.